All right, today we're diving into a project that really cuts to the core of a huge debate in crypto, Degen. This thing started out as just a meme, but now it's making us question what a social currency can even be. So let's get right into it.
You know, when you boil it all down, there are really two kinds of projects in the crypto space. You've got one camp that's all about pure technology, the protocols, the scaling solutions, all that deep infrastructure stuff. And then you have the other camp, and they're trying to build culture. We're talking memes, communities, and real social movements. That tension is everything.
So that leads us to the big question. Where exactly does Degen fit into all this? See, it started as pure culture, a total meme, but it's evolving into something way more complicated and fast.
Okay, let's break this down. Degen kicked off as a simple little cultural token inside a pretty niche social network. But today, it's one of the most talked about tokens in a massive ecosystem. And that crazy evolution forces us to ask a really tough question. Are we witnessing a brand new model for a social economy where the value of a community gets turned directly into financial value? Or are we just watching the slickest, most polished version of a classic, meme-fueled bubble we've ever seen? That's the debate we're going to unpack.
To really get what Degen is today, you have to rewind and look at where it came from. Its origin story, it explains both its insane growth and its built-in risks. In a lot of ways, this whole thing was an accidental economy.
See, Degen was never meant to be an investment. It was born on Farcaster, which is a decentralized social network, and it was just a way to reward people for good posts and good engagement. Think of it like a tipping system, a social tool, definitely not a financial asset.
But this community-first launch created something really powerful. By just airdropping the token to people who were actually using the platform, Degen got this super wide ownership right from day one. And that sparked a really strong community, a genuine organic culture, and of course, absolutely viral growth.
But here's the flip side, right? When you build an entire economy on a meme, you're also baking in a ton of volatility. Its value is tied directly to social energy and attention. And as we all know, those things can be incredibly unpredictable. And this is where the story gets really interesting. Degen tries to make this huge leap from being a fun little social token to something much, much bigger. It started chasing legitimacy.
The entire game changed when Degen basically became a flagship token on Base. And look, this isn't just some random network. Base is the layer 2 built by Coinbase, one of the biggest names in crypto. All of a sudden, Degen was playing in a completely different league.
In this new, bigger world, Degen stopped being just a social meme. It actually started plugging into real infrastructure. It started being used across different social apps, it built out integrations to work on multiple chains, and then, the biggest move of all, it launched its own Layer 3 called Degen Chain.
So this is where things get really messy and controversial. This dual identity, part meme, part tech infrastructure. That's the real heart of the debate. What is this thing, really?
I mean, you can see the split personality right here. On one hand, you got all the signs of a meme, the community-driven story, the crazy volatility, the reliance on social hype. But then on the other side, it's an official token on Base, it has its own Layer 3, and it's being used as an actual on-chain incentive system. It's walking a really, really fine line.
So in the end, it's not really either one. It's clearly not just another meme coin, but it's definitely not a traditional protocol like Ethereum. It lives in this weird new gray area. A true experiment that's trying to fuse culture and technology together. Okay, so now we have to talk about the uncomfortable side of all this. Because whenever you have a new experiment like this, there are major risks, some serious headwinds that you just can't ignore. The hype is definitely real, but so are the problems. So let's just be real about the risks here. Its success is still completely tied to how well the Farcaster network does. It is wildly volatile. Its whole story is fueled by hype, which, as we know, can just vanish. It's facing a ton of competition on Base, and of course, it's incredibly vulnerable to those classic crypto boom and bust cycles. And here's the bottom line. For these social tokens, going viral and growing fast is actually the easy part. The real, true test is sustainability. Can Degen actually stick around and stay relevant, not just for one bull run, but for many cycles to come? That's the billion-dollar question.
So all of this brings us to the end game. Degen is a live experiment, and it's on trial right now, in real time. And there are two very clear and very, very different ways this whole thing could play out.
First up, the bull case.
In this future, Degen totally cements itself as the cultural currency of the entire Base ecosystem. The culture actually turns into real, lasting utility. Its social economy keeps growing, and people start using it for way more than just tipping and speculation.
And then you've got the bear case. In this version, the story just loses its magic. The community's attention wanders off to the next shiny new thing, trading volume evaporates, the tech it's building doesn't get any real traction, and the token just becomes another purely speculative asset with no real economy behind it.
So there you have it, the two extremes. A groundbreaking new model for a social economy, or just another casualty of the next market cycle. And the difference really comes down to one thing. Can it turn all that cultural hype into lasting utility before everyone gets bored?
One of the sources we used for this explainer just put it perfectly. At its absolute core, Degen is an experiment on how to convert social interaction into on-chain economy. That, right there, is the whole thesis.
And that really leaves us with the final question for all of us to think about. Is this experiment showing us the actual future of how online communities are going to be built and valued? Or is it just another really interesting but ultimately short-lived chapter in the long, long history of viral tokens? Only time will tell.